This really a case of William and Harry now caught in the act, if you'll forgive the pun. As ever, chums, let me explain. Hi, nice to see you. Welcome back, one and all. And of course, thank you for taking the time out to join me today on our ever-growing family of friends and community and channels. Chums. By the way, I know a lot of you love the idea of a chums umbrella. Got me thinking, yes, I know. The thing is, we used to have a dog food over here, you know, called Chum. Does anybody remember that? I think it was called Pedigree Chum. Does it still exist? Yeah, I know, very strange, isn't it? And also, it's just a strange thing when you look at stuff like that, because it's how the wording means apparently around the world. The idea came to me because I just like the word chums. You know, when people used to say that in old films, I thought, yeah, that's a nice friendly greeting for people. It's not about friends or whatever. We're chums, and I genuinely see you as my chums. I love the way that we talk back. I love all the things that we discuss. It's just a lovely, heartwarming experience, and thank you for making this channel what it is. I do love reading some of your stuff. You know, somebody wrote to me the other day saying that they used to work, I can't remember exactly now who it was, but their mother was a cleaner for somebody incredibly famous, and you think, wow, this is the stuff out there that you never think about, isn't it? Everybody has a story, as I often said. Don't be frightened to share yours in the comments below. As ever, let's get back to your royal story of the day. You know, what's interesting with William and Harry, I often say, oh, we haven't had a wave, have we? I often say this. The thing that I find really sad is that William, you know, I just sort of feel sorry for him in many respects, because he clearly didn't foresee this debacle with his younger brother when he was growing up, you know. I mean, and it's a terribly sad story about the mother, the late and beautiful Princess Diana. It's terribly sad. But the bottom line is, you would have thought they would have cemented together. And I don't think even Harry thought that anybody really could come between them. That is, of course, until many people suggest the vixen, that is Meghan Markle, came on the scene to tell Prince Harry exactly what was wrong with his life. Seemingly nothing until she turned up on the scene. You know, I was there throughout that early period when William and Catherine and Harry were together. And I have to say, Michael and Carol Middleton treated as they were young boys at the time, you know, still beyond teenagers, but clearly like one of their own family. They did a lot to nurture Prince William into a different life. You know, they are funny, you know, characters. I mean, as you know, I worked with Pippa Middleton and I've met James, and they're just funny, normal people. So you can understand what drew William to this and what drew Harry to Catherine as well. You know, they were very close, and Harry confided in Catherine in a lot, particularly with his mental health issues, his ongoing battle to find a partner, and his longing to become a father. All of that now has come to fruition. And basically, Harry is busy suing people on a daily basis, right? And the problem is, and this is the bigger issue really now for Harry, because he wants to prove, as I've said, that he's the man. I know what I'm doing. Don't have a go at me. I'm the cheese, you know, that sort of thing. And we've all met people like that, right, chums? You know, the sort of person that it's very difficult, isn't it, to deal with them, because it doesn't matter what you tell them, they believe they're right. And consequently, sometimes you have to pull back and let them make the mistakes. William, you know, sadly for him, has had to really step back and say, well, there's nothing more I can do. And I know that he does miss Harry, whatever people might say, because they were the two unique people in a unique bond. Now, if you remember, cast your mind back to this. This was, of course, when Prince William very successfully decided to take a payout from a national newspaper for $1 million. And we only, you know, got this because this was, you know, against litigation and intrusion and stuff like that. And also remember, William and Catherine recently won another court ruling regarding obtrusive pictures taken of them when they were recently on holiday. William, you know, does it gently, right? And doesn't make a big fanfare and turning up at the court. He wants it done without fuss. That's what he picked up and learned from his great, you know, in my opinion, our great Queen Elizabeth. You know, don't make a fuss, just deal with this situation. Now, what happened, as we then found out, and this was really, I think, a pivotal moment in that court case with Harry. Remember when he got on the stand, and it came out by the fact that William had indeed settled with, I believe, News UK, again, allegedly, for £1 million. And the bottom line was that then he decided to split the money, predominantly quite a substantial amount, to Harry's Invictus Games. So again, you would say that William didn't need to do this. He could have just ploughed it into his own charities, but no, he wanted to support his brother. right? And so consequently, we found that out. And then the rest of it was divided through other various charities. So he didn't keep any of the money. You know, this is the thing. And this to me is the important bit. Now, Harry, as you know, is ploughing ahead, but the battle with associated newspapers over here, which is the Mail Online, the Mail on Sunday and the Daily Mail. Now, he's just been warned by his own lawyers and the lawyer team that he's still battling forward and pushing forward with a case going into 2026, that he could lose millions. Now, what happens, in case you don't know this, because I've been in these situations many times with cases like this, they tend to put this out as something of a frightener, you know. Now, the other people associated in this case are the likes of Keir Starmer's chum, Elton John, alongside David Furnish, alongside the model Elizabeth Hurley, and actress and producer Sadie Frost, right? So they're all in this sort of group amongst many others. Now, the reason why they do this, as I say, is to sort of frighten you into, well, what if we offered you this, right? Now, the thing is, and this is the problem that William has now got, is the fact that Harry believes he's not going to back down. He wants his day in court. He wants to prove to the people. However, what people are telling me behind the scenes is they hope that Harry may see sense, because a lot of the things being put forward, again, I have to say allegedly, won't necessarily stand up in a court of law. Harry, though, is buoyant, and he's buoyant for the simple fact he's now got a review of his security coming up, right? So he thinks he's on a roller coaster there. He's, you know, very excited by this, and consequently behind the scenes, I've been told that Harry believes, well, what has he got to lose? And also, this is the nub of the story, and this is the important bit. You see, he believes that William won. He got £1 million out of that national newspaper. And because he did that, Harry feels he wants to do the same thing. And this is all about sibling rivalry, right? This is really the problem with Harry. Seeping with jealousy. William did it very quietly, without any fanfare or fuss. Harry's having to make this a big song and dance, letting the world know, talking about this with ITV, talking about it with, of course, the New York Times on one of their forums, the Dragon Slayer not backing down, because I can, I've got the power. However, many suspect inside that Harry, if they waved the right amount on a cheque, would simply crumble. What would be interesting, you see, if you remember, Hugh Grant was also in that previous, people who backed down. And basically because Hugh Grant backed down, Harry, according to the source, again, allegedly thought, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Now, all it would take is one of the other people, the Elizabeth Hurleys, the Elton Johns, etc. If they succumb to this particular plot, then Harry may say yes. But he can say yes, proving, of course, to his elder brother, Prince William, well, you know, you're not the only one that can take on the people and slay the dragons. And that is the true story behind those courtroom doors. It's a developing story, as I often say, and at this point I don't see any sort of conclusion this side of Christmas, but that's what I'm told could be on the table facing Harry. But would it be enough? As ever, it's developing. Neil Shaw, Kensington, London.